Oh, good, good.
Yeah. Boom. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are back. You got to give me some slack here. As you guys can see, it's a brand new setup that I got here. I'm working on the camera and getting everything up there so I can look out there. It's startup mode. You know, the most important thing you guys got to do is stop over analyzing, start hitting record and putting stuff out there. And, you know, I'll figure all this out. Lighting, you know, for this, it's a science. You know, I spend a lot of time out there on YouTube. But hey, I appreciate you guys all for joining us out here today. Shout out to Trey Griggs. He's already in the comments. And again, drop your comments out there on this live feed. I'll throw them up there, answer any questions that you guys have as it's all rolling through. I got a very special guest for you guys today. I got Mr. Ivan Torres here. He's been in the industry for a long time. First and foremost, check out this swag, you guys.
Come on.
It's their family brand, Freight Hustlers. How badass is that? Like, honestly, Freight Hustlers is a sick name. We're going to get into kind of the origin stories of that. Before we jump in, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at BitFreighter. They are, they're part of making all of this stuff here possible. They're the guys at BitFreighter are on a mission right now, you guys, to connect the logistics industry with a flat fee for unlimited EDI messaging. Carriers and owner operators alike, you're costing yourself business by not having a digital option to accept tenders for your customers. With the Load Accept platform, EDI is no longer an expensive and unattainable option for companies who may not have a legacy TMS to utilize for your day-to-day operations. Load Accept level the playing field for your organization and makes you EDI compliant with your customers through automation. If your customers are requiring you to have EDI capabilities, you now have a seamless and effective tool to utilize in Load Accept. If you're ready to learn more, visit www.bitfreighter.com to request a Load Accept demo today. Do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. They're a longtime supporter of the show. You know, and all my sponsors, my friends over at Emerge, my friends at Trucker Tools, they believed in me for a very long time. Chandler McGon, what's going on, brother? He's coming to us from Dallas, Texas. That's right, Freight Hustlers. Let's lead into that right now because Ivan's got a special deal out there for all of you listeners out there in the world right now to go out. First and foremost, you guys, this is a family who's from the industry. They're a group of entrepreneurs. They're hardworking men and women in this industry, and we got to support each other out there. So Ivan, I found him on Instagram actually, and I was like, same thing. I'm like, Freight Hustlers, that is baller. So I went out and I got a hat and I got a sweatshirt from it. And yeah, man. So how, like, Freight Hustlers, how did this kind of all get started? And, you know, introduce yourself here a little bit.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yes, man, so excited to be here. First of all, before anything else, man, I love the Freight Coach. Love listening in, you know, every week, and just, man, getting that insight and, you know, just the wisdom, you know, of everybody that's been in the industry, from truckers to brokers and everybody, man. It's very insightful, and it's amazing. So, Freight Hustlers, the way it started was really that entrepreneurial spirit. I get that from my mom, and that's always been a part of kind of like what she's taught us to be, you know, be independent, be on our own, you know, and really be in this industry. My family's been in this industry for 12 plus years now, and kind of like been in that place where I'm like, okay, you know, I've done trucking, I've done this, I've done that. There's more to it. There's so much in this industry that you can do.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse to not be able to kind of create something out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so Freight Hustlers just rang with me. It just rang with me so well. And, you know, back in 2015 is when, you know, I finally decided or came up with that name, and I just kind of like held it in my pocket, you know, for years. And finally in 2017 is when we, you know, established it. But it's really been about 3 months until we actually just decided to do the merch.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile, you know, we've been trucking. Meanwhile, we've been freight hustling, and really that name represents the industry. It doesn't just represent, you know, truckers. It represents, you know, brokers, everybody that is a part of the industry, that is waking up, working every morning, you know, night and day, not just to keep America going, but putting food on the table, you know, and providing for their families, man. This is, you know, whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a broker, whether you're any side of this industry, is you're a hustler, man. You're freight hustling. You really, you know, putting in that work.
No, absolutely, man. And, you know, to kind of speaking of that, you know, obviously there's some very real things that are happening in the world right now. And, you know, first and foremost, I want to, all of our hardworking men and women who are, in the Ukraine right now in the logistics industry, and there's a lot of drivers on the road who are from that region, that area. I don't really talk about politics a lot on this because, at the end of the day, but this directly affects our industry. And this is a very real thing to me. And, the videos are out there on social media right now. And, there are innocent people out there, hardworking men and women that are just like us, just in another area of the world that are in a war zone right now. And just my thoughts and prayers go out to the innocent people who are getting sacrificed by this. And, at the end of the day, we have a lot of us, 99% of the population have nothing to do with a lot of the conflicts that we find ourselves in, but it's the working class, the people like us that are sent to deal with this, and my thoughts and prayers to all of our friends over in the Ukraine who are, and even in Russia who have nothing to do with this, who are in the industry, like, again, the hardworking men and women who literally have nothing to do with this are going to be brought in to these world conflicts. And I hate seeing it. My stance is first and foremost, I'm all about freedom and liberty. I've made that abundantly clear on my stuff. And I want to, hopefully, what we can learn from this to become better as people. Cause I think that's what we need right now. We need that more than ever. Cause it's been an absolute fucking onslaught for the last couple of years against the working class. Let's call it what it is. It's against the working class, man, in my opinion. And, hopefully we can get some good somehow. I know it's dark right now, but in the near future, hopefully the tides start turning. So that's what I want to say is my thoughts and prayers out to the people in Ukraine and anywhere in the world who are directly affected by this bullshit, because that's what it is to me.
Yeah, but really sad. Nobody should have to wake up to that,
hell
bombs
no.
And jets flying over them, It's really sad what's happening out there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So how did you get your family start in here? Because, again, I wanted to talk to you because not only your parents drove, you've seen the other side of the fence that not a lot of people experience. To me, we get blinded sometimes. You know what I mean, man? Like, I was a broker for 10 years. And the only experience I had in trucking, luckily my dad drove. So I know what you guys go through out there. So, kind of talk about that. How did you get involved in trucking and everything else?
Well, just like you and I, I was, pretty much my father was a truck driver. For years, he worked the ports right here in Long Beach. So I remember, I would wake up not wake up every night, but hear him, waking up every night, making coffee, my mom making him lunch, and, hitting the road, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, picking up his load, so he can be out there in Long Beach early in the morning. And that was his life. That was his business. That's how he put food on the table, and he loved it. He loved it. He used to take me all the time with him. He used to drive the flatbeds, so always, was trying to teach me, how to tighten everything up on, making sure everything was safe. And I didn't like it, man. Growing up, I never liked it.
I did. Sucks as a kid doing that work.
He would take me with him sometimes to the port. Yeah. And I'm like, I actually, I went to school I went to the Art Institute, to study culinary arts, Nice. But then I did a year of that, and then I realized, man, like, this is, I don't think I want to, I love culinary, but I don't think I want to do 12, 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
But, I never liked going with him. But I learned to love the industry. I learned to respect, his work ethic. That's one of the things that he taught me always, is work ethic. And, so that's how we got into it. My father was a truck driver. As I told you, before, it's like, our story, the way I got into this, or, we got into this is, my dad passed away, about 12 years now, but, that was his thing. That was his grind. That's how he put food on the table, and people loved him. You still mention his name and people still remember him, right. In the industry here in San Diego, because he was just somebody that you really, that was there to help you. He would stop on the road and help you out, whatever you're going through, and so, he passed away, and then my mom jumped into the truck. She said, well, have no other way to provide for my family. I'm a mother of 3 kids. How else am I going to do it? The only thing that I know, is, going with your dad on the road sometimes,
Yeah.
And so she got her CDL. She started driving with what is it again? England. There's another company, CR England, another company, and she went through that whole process.
Really?
You know, um, learning experience. Being on the road, being with a what do they call it? Like a not a instructor. On the road, over the road, and and banging heads with the instructor. But having
Yeah.
to take everything because she was a woman. And two, she was inexperienced, and she really needed the license, to be able to provide. She was willing to do whatever it took. I think at
Yeah.
some point, I think she dropped. She got off. She was banging heads with this guy for so long that she literally got off the truck somewhere in Florida.
Jesus,
but
man.
but she was stubborn, and she did it. She got her license, and she's been driving for years. Actually, she's still driving right now.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's still driving right now. It's amazing.
Dude,
Yeah.
is she, because you guys own a truck. So
Yeah.
is she driving that, or is she
She's actually driving that right now. So we own 3. Remember, we own 3.
Yeah.
And then she's a real freight hustler, bro. That's where we get her from.
Dude, we got to get her to come on here soon, man. I want to hear her stories, because, like, dude, that's like right there, man. Going through that adversity, and instead of sitting back and saying, "How am I going to do it?" It's no, this is what I need to do. And I mean, her getting her CDL, and I mean, I'll say it, and I know a lot of people know this: women aren't exactly treated equally in this industry by any stretch of the imagination. That's true. I had a Carla Isted on my podcast a few episodes back, talking about what drivers go through, female drivers go through out there. And then Ellen Voya with the Women in Trucking Association, she was on here as well. And, it's like man, it's like talking about a lot of, like the infrastructure bill and stuff like that, man. Like, now the ATA and OIDA are now saying that Buttigieg needs to invest in truck parking. It's like, why was that not earmarked in the infrastructure bill? Right. It's like when you talk to actual drivers, the people who are behind the wheel, and again, not to knock on anybody who hasn't drove, but instead of listening to the CEOs, we need to listen to the drivers who are actually having people fuck with their cabs at night and try and break into their trucks because they're in, shady areas. Like, those are the people who we need to be talking to about that. And, that's the thing, is it's like listening to those stories, like, that puts the reality behind it, man. Cause it's like, dude, with my old man too, the missed birthdays, the just being held up at places and not being able to spend time away from your family, unless you experience that, it's a different conversation, cause it's easy for me to sit in an office and tell a driver, sorry, you're laying over for 3 days, deal with it. There's no effect. You don't view that as an actual person out there. But when you have that familial connection to it, it is, man. It's like, dude, those are hardworking men and women on the road. Why aren't they safe? Why is that not a serious consideration? That's what pisses me off the most.
Yeah. And the thing is, exactly, like, we need to get perspective from, people that are out there, people that are driving, people that are putting in the hours, people that are putting the layovers, people that are, these people are trying to work and provide for their families. We just had a situation, one of our loads, we went out there today, was a couple days ago, that night that I spoke to you. We were picking up a load, and the broker never mentioned anything about the trailer needing, it was a load for Frito-Lay, right? He never mentioned anything about the top of the roof of the trailer being food grade, right? Yeah. So we get there, we're
waiting to be a tin roof and not plastic, essentially, right?
Yes, yeah. So our roof was fiberglass. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but the broker never mentioned that, right? And so, we ended up spending, the load didn't pick up till the evening. Yeah. And so, long story short, we get rejected, but but the broker doesn't know that the last 2-3 days our truck's been in the shop trying to get fixed. Yeah. So not only did we miss that day, we missed the whole day, but it's not the broker's fault. Just the small details there that go into thought that it's like, hey man, like, it's not just a load, but it's people's livelihoods,
Yeah. I'll say what you might not want to say. Hey, brokers, do better. How did you not verify that information? That is very clearly written out on every BOL that shippers provide you. It's just like saying you didn't know what temperature a frozen load of chicken needed to be. Like, that's ridiculous, And again, dude, and it's like, I see that in the open deck world as well, man. Like, how are you sending in a driver for a tarp load without tarps or the wrong size tarps, and you're not verifying that information? Again, like, for us to progress as an industry, people need to accept accountability. with this. That is not like if you're just saying and sending in a 53-foot drive in and you don't know the specifications of what is needed to get that load, then you shouldn't be brokering that load. That needs to go to the right brokers who are executing upon that freight, so they don't waste anybody's time.
Yeah.
You know, and here, my friend Rhonda, what's going on? She's in the audience out here as well. Actually implement changes for drivers' health and wellness, not just provide lip service, change business practices to meet them and their needs. And yeah, Rhonda, it's all about driver health, man. Obesity, I think with Mark Manera, he's another, I don't know if you follow him at all. Dr. Mark Manera, he is with, I'm so sorry. I forgot the name of his company, but he has a driver fitness app to help drivers exercise on the road. And again, he's taken that head on as well. And then Rhonda as well, she's got a bunch of content out there and talking about, you know, again, like those are real issues that affect drivers. Sorry, I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I'm not sorry at the same time though, because it's like, that's what makes all brokers get a bad name. And I know I'm not here to sling mud or anything like that. And, you know, cause I've dealt with some shitty drivers at the end of the day too, you know, like we're all a part of it. But again, it's like as a broker, if you're not verifying very specific information on what you know would get a trailer rejected, you just look bad to your customer. Your own laziness is going to cost you business.
Yeah. And you know, and I think what I was trying to lead with that is that, you know, let's not forget the human factor in this industry, you know. Let's not forget that, you know, this is about, you know, we're trying to make business. We're trying to, you know, we're trying to make money. You know, we all have families to feed, you know.
Exactly.
But let's not forget the human factor, you know, that, you know,
love you too, Rhonda.
People invest time, people invest money, you know, people just like the brokers have, you know, how can I say this? Just like the brokers have, you know, families to feed, you know, mortgages to pay, you know, bills to pay, you know, they got struggles too, man. So because we, you know, this is not like an East Coast, West Coast beef kind of thing.
I know. We're not looking to do that here. We're all about progress.
You know, we're all about progress. We're all about love, man. We're all here, you know, trying to work, trying to grind, trying to provide for our families and, you know, and feed that dream, man. I think we all have a dream. We all have a story of how we got into this industry, you know, and I think the best way for all of us, you know, to grow and prosper is, you know, to not forget the human factor in this industry, you know, that, you know, we're all just trying to, you know, provide for our families and for our homes. And so that goes into you know, infrastructure, just like you're mentioning, you know, that goes into thought of, you know, don't just think about, you know, what Amazon's going to, you know, thinks about, you know, don't worry about what Amazon thinks, because I think about this. So if you go to like, I'm more familiar with like LA, Fontana, you know, San Bernardino area, because that's where I always pick out of.
Absolutely.
And if you go to that San Bernardino Redlands area where there's a lot of Amazon facilities, there's a whole bunch of them, right, for miles, right? But you cannot find parking around those facilities for miles. And I know, because I've done that. I've had to drive like 2-3 miles, you know, from Moreno Valley to that Catskill that's over there on the 215. That's right. If you're familiar with the area, you know it's about to park into wait, you know, for the trailer, because there's no parking around there. So little things like that, man, they go a long way to just not forget the human factor in this industry, man.
No, dude, that's exactly it. I mean, dude, the San Bernardino area, Fontana, Ontario, dude, those were my old stomping grounds, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
I picked up a ton of freight out of that. Well, not like personally, I'm from northern Wisconsin originally, but I moved a ton of freight out of east side of Los Angeles. And yeah, man, dude, but that's everywhere though. Like at the end of the day, that's everywhere. And you know, it's like talking about making those industry improvements. Those what are needed more than anything. You know, it's like, again, you talk to any driver out there, safe and secure parking is at the top of their priority list, plain and simple, you know, because it's like not one, you know, like that's the thing, man, is it's like, and then you go out to some of these facilities out there. I mean, I know that this is a conversation of an entirely other topic, but I mean, really, we can't even let a driver use a restroom? Like, get better, you know, like get better. Like that's ridiculous, you know? And again, subjectively speaking, I understand from an insurance standpoint why that might be a policy. I get it. I've done my research on that. But what I don't understand is from a human element, how do you not have something, especially when you have, you know, 100 loads a day moving out of your facility. You don't think one person needs to use a restroom and then you're going to hold them up for a few hours? Again, I'm trying not to get too far off topic here, but you're poking me, man. I want to,
at least put, provide a porta potty or something out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
at least,
anything.
Something,
So how long were you, so, your mom drove, you got behind the wheel, and how long did you drive for, man? And do you still do it? Like to this day, do you still hold an active CDL?
Yeah, I still have my CDL. And, it's like I started driving when I was 28. And the reason I started driving when I was 28 is because at that time, my mom had an accident at one of the facilities that she was delivering in.
Yeah.
And in that same week that I got and I struggled, man. I really did. I struggled with, what did I struggle with? What was I struggling the most? I failed my first one because of the reverse test, and then the other one, it was the inspect, as 120, 150 point inspection, But eventually I finally got it. But I got it that same week that they told my mom that, you can't drive anymore.
Yeah.
That same week, it's like, after this week, you can't drive. It's that same week that I got my license and I started driving. I started with the ports, man. I hated the ports. But I started driving with I hated the ports. Having to wake up, back then, today it's like more efficient, but back then I was 28, so I was like, what was that, like that was a while ago. That was like 2012 or something like that.
Okay.
So started driving the ports, and then, after that we got out of there and we started driving, Fontana, LA, San Diego, to Northern Cal, Sacramento, Redding, all those things, And so, I loved it. I enjoyed it, I rephrase that. I learned to love it. Yeah. Because I still didn't like it, but I knew that it had to be done. I knew that if, that truck wasn't moving, then, there wasn't going to be, food on the table, roof over our heads. And, and so we had to do what we had to do. And, a lot of us, in this industry, we know that sometimes, we don't feel like, getting on the road. Sometimes we don't feel like getting to the office, but sometimes we have to do what we have to do. Like we were talking about, consistency. Yeah. Especially when you're working towards something and you're building towards something, it's always about consistency. And for me, I had to learn to love this industry. And I know I love it, man. That's my thing, man. I love trucking. This is my grind. This is what I do. But before, man, it was tough, and there was a lot of stuff. Like, man, I saw a lot of crazy stuff out there, on the road. You gotta be so careful. You gotta be so conscious of safety and everybody that is around you, man, because like we were talking about, you're not driving a little Volkswagen,
Absolutely, man. And dude, I want to touch on something else that was kind of a hot topic a few months ago. Cause when we were talking the other day about, cause you've actually, the driver out in Colorado, and I had made my stance known on that at that time. That's the beauty of social media, guys. I got receipts, good and bad. I have receipts for everything I say, but I want to bring your perspective in here, because you've actually driven that road before, right? That one that's in question, or not in question, the one that it happened on.
Yeah, that's actually the lane that I learned in. I didn't even have my license when I was driving there. But I had my permit. Wow. But it's like when I saw that kid's story, I was like, I identified with this so much, because that's a pretty dangerous, part, to drive in, And I had a similar situation, Thank God that for me, the co-driver, was there, and he took care, he took control of the situation at the time. But we used to move, I think it was beer from Otay to Denver, and we went through that same freeway, and it's very dangerous, man. And for me to see that kid going through what he had to go through, and don't get me wrong, like there's definitely some responsibility towards him, but there's more responsibility, and there should be more accountability for the company that was giving him that load, And so definitely more accountability for the companies, mainly. And you know what? The funny thing is this, not funny thing, but the companies, especially the smaller companies, they will kind of cut some corners, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, like, I'll kind of going back to my mom. She had a similar situation where she actually lost control of the vehicle over there right before passing through Sonoma, passing through Flagstaff.
Yeah.
The truck flipped over. I mean, the doctor said, you know what, you shouldn't be alive right now. You should have a broken vertebrae, all these things. But the truck had she was driving for an owner at that time. She had her truck, but she was driving for owner to make some money.
Yeah.
And the truck had a malfunction and the lights turned off. Can you imagine like driving in that? You know, there's no lights whatsoever.
Dude,
right?
There's nothing out there.
There's nothing out there. And so when the lights turned off and she was about to hit a curve, you know, she didn't catch it on time, and the truck pretty much went off the road and rolled over. CHPs, you know, she had to be, you know, flown to the hospital and all these things. You know, we're still like in a court battle with that company, you know, because they definitely discovered some malfunctions in the truck. But I definitely will hold more accountable the trucking companies, whether you're big or small, you know, to be more responsible with, you know, putting just people out there just to get the load out there, you know, just, hey man, you know, it's like sometimes they'll just put anybody out there, you know, just to get that freight, just to keep the customer happy. But there has to be some point where you say, hey man, you know what, this guy's not experienced enough. You know, I definitely wasn't experienced when I was going through there. You know, thank God that I had my co-driver that, you know, he jumped in right away and, you know, took care of the situation. But
for sure,
I mean, I don't even know if I don't even know how it would be, you know, whether I would be here or not, honestly, because like you know, same thing, you know, the truck started picking up speed. I told him, hey, you know, I missed the gear and I'm losing control, and really just missing the gear right there alone, I mean, it could just put you in a whole lot of trouble if you panic in a moment like that.
Absolutely. Cassandra Gaines is in the audience. If you don't follow her, man, you need to follow her. She's got transportation attorney, a perpetual person who likes to fuck with Chris Jolly all the time and bust my balls. But she's great though. She's honestly phenomenal. Awesome. She's actually got a new tool out there. She just released a new carrier rating tool out there for brokers. But the thing is there's some additional stuff out there. I'm not going to say too much. But her company and what she's doing, she's taken her entire career's worth of knowledge and put this into a tool to help better the industry. So I got nothing but love for her and what she's doing out there, even though she gives me a hard time literally every single day. But that's what
people like that, you know, like
exactly. She keeps me honest because she's an attorney and she has to. But yeah, man, I like talking about what you're doing, and that additional training thing. I'm not a fan of big government and government overreach and telling us what, but I think that there needs to be more of a focus on additional training for drivers, you know, and taking that out there. And it can't just be because that was the thing. Like my dad, you know, like you're talking about that experience of going down the hill and missing a gear, and experienced drivers knows how to get that back under control because they've been down there. And that's the training that I'm talking about, especially if that's the region that you're going to run. And yeah, man, I just think that additional training is huge, you know, especially like with this whole push to bringing 18-year-olds into the industry and, you know, in that I know, but like, I want to get your opinion on that here in a second, Ivan. But I think though that again, with the right training, I think it could be a great thing. I really do, as long as there's the right training. Because I mean, dude, you live in Cali, bro. Like it's 900 miles from San Diego up to the top. Like you can drive those 900 miles. But you're like, my thought process is what's the difference between those 900 miles and the 900 miles it is between there and Dallas, or 1,000 miles or whatever that is, you know? So to me, it's like with additional training, with the right training, I think that it can be a great thing to help alleviate some of the driver shortage that we are about to face. I'm not exactly entirely convinced that we're at a critical mass, but we will be if we don't do something about it and take the necessary steps to fill some of these seats. And plus, man, we got to get people excited about this industry, dude. Not everybody got the freight hustler mentality that's out there, man. Not all of us come from this. Yeah, dude, that's the thing is it's like, that's like one of the biggest points behind all of my content, man. I want to make trucking sexy again. I want to make the blue collar industry sexy again, dude. Like slogan. I come from a working class family, man. My first job was scrubbing the wheels on my dad's semi, you know, at 5 years old. I wasn't exactly paid for it either. You know, it was, but you know, that's the thing though, is it's like when I haven't actually publicly spoken about this, but my dad died unexpectedly a couple months back. And, you know, I appreciate that, man. And yeah, it's actually the first time I'm even publicly speaking about this. And, you know, it's it's one of those things though, that, you know, he didn't leave, you know, coming from a working class family. It's not like he left me, you know, money, you know, but here's what he did. He actually left me a blank check. And I'm convinced of that now, because he taught me the one thing that not a lot of people have. And in my opinion, that's a work ethic. He literally gave me a blank check by teaching me the skills to be successful in life.
Amazing.
And that's the way that I truly feel about that. And for me, it's instilling that back in the industry as a whole and getting that in there. And, you know, and that is, you know, that work ethic comes in from training people the right way and teaching them the ins and outs of this stuff, you know, and it comes from, I'll call them the OGs, you know, at the end of the day, man, my old man was an OG on the road, you know, and there's only, and that's a breed that's going away. I mean, I still talk to a lot of his friends who are still out there on the road, and they see it. It's a churn and burn mentality. And we see that on the brokerage side a lot. It's churn and burn, man, where they're throwing driver or brokers on a floor and hoping they work out. I kind of feel like that's the same thing on the trucking side. It's churn and burn. It's, you know, well, we'll hire 50 people. And then if they make it, cool. If not, but come on, we got to take this seriously, you know? And it's like there, and that's the start, you know, there are a lot of things. And again, I know there's not some kumbaya fucking perfect utopia that, you know, I know that that's not a thing, but I also think that we got to start somewhere. All right. And and it's going to come from the industry. No outside person is going to come in and fix this. It's going to be us, you know?
You know, I completely agree with that. And I know you're big on technology.
Yeah.
Bringing a new technology, updated technology, you know, to the industry, whether it's on the broker side or the driver side. And I think, like, honestly, like, we need to make new drivers more aware of the dangers. More aware of the dangers of what could happen on the road, you know, just by missing a gear, you know, you know, going down a hill, you know, what do you do? You know, how do you do in that situation? I think technology would be a great thing for something like that, like a simulation, you know, there's definitely, you know, there's nothing like putting somebody on the road with a permit and then, you know, just like I was on that road that day, you know, and getting that work experience. But it's that repetitive side, you know, of, you know, maybe being in like a simulation, you know, and that repetitive side of what would you do in this situation, you know, and get accustomed to the dangers so that when something happens down the road, when you're stuck in traffic or you got to swerve somebody on the you know, oncoming traffic or on the merging, you know, because he's driving too fast and, you know, you're on your lane and this guy just comes in and just doesn't yield and expects you to move when you're on your lane. It's these little things like that, man. Drivers and people paying chicken sometimes on the road and just being, you know, reckless. That, you know,
dude, like this, that's the thing is, it's like, again, I'm not privy to any business's P&L or anything like that, but it's like, you see a lot of companies that are always hiring drivers, and I get it, you know, we got to fill some seats, but like, I also want to know, like, instead of, if we spent maybe less time recruiting new drivers and more time training the drivers that we hire and use like shifting those resources per se. Again, I'm not a trucking company P&L expert by any means, but I can add. And I think that if we, maybe looked at that from a perspective, because again, how many new drivers are on the road right now that don't know how to properly mitigate if they miss a gear going down a hill? How many drivers on the road don't know that at all? And I got a lot of shout outs to get. I've been trying to pull up your guys' comments as we go. I'm sorry. I love the interaction out there. Peter Bowl, dude, long time no see, man. Great to see you back out here today. My brother, the Freight Sensei, if you're not following him on Instagram, he's another good guy to follow out there. Mr. Scott I always butcher his last name. I feel sorry. I want to say Watanabe, but he's my friend. He's with Armstrong Transport Group out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and Boise, Idaho. Another phenomenal organization. But yeah, man, it's dude, there's just so much. Again, it's going to take, I think, that kind of, I want to say that, like, that collective group effort at this point, you know, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's a very well published stat that 90% of the trucks on the road are small business, right? You know, so again, it's like having something kind of like a, you know, and again, like, a shout out to my friend Adam Wingfield, who works with trucking companies all the time to help train them up the right way to build a sustainable and long-term business. But again, it's like bringing those best practices to the masses. you know, and helping in those situations, like whether it's a truck simulator or something to invest and take those resources instead of spending it on, you know, how do I get a new building per se, which you know, I'm a fan of, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I'm one of those people, Ivan, where it's like, we have to get, before we grow our business, we have to have rock solid operations. I feel like, you know, if we want to grow, if we can't sustain where we're at right now, what is adding revenue to that problem going to be? But I think like that's where it's got to start, man. We have that foundation. We have the collective knowledge to make this better, and we need to do a better job of that as an industry.
Yeah, you know, and I think we definitely, especially with social media, where we get to see both sides of the industry. There's definitely that more that I believe that we're grown closer together in our you know, relationship from the owner side and the, you know, the broker side and the customer side, because we get to see, man, like I get to see, okay, like I'm a broker, I see these guys, you know, these, you know, what they do. I see these guys driving down the road, you know, I see their lifestyle, see what they kind of have to go through sometimes, you know. I see the broker side as well, you know, I see what they're doing, I see what they have to go through as well. And I think that brings us a lot together. I think before, I remember we used to struggle. I used to work for brokerage, custom house brokers over in, you know, in San Diego. I don't know if they're still there, but you know, I remember back in the day where it's just like you literally got a call. I used to carry my laptop, right? Like no internet. I started there when 2010 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, so we still like, you know, it's like I had to go somewhere, stop. I was driving, I had to stop and, you know, and get the information or get the PDF or something like that. And now I have all the information, you know, at the click of my fingers, and I know what's going on. I know what's happening out there. I know what's happening with my load. I know what's happening with my driver because I have GPS on him, you know, all these things. So it's definitely, technology has definitely brought us, you know, closer together more than ever. And I get to see both sides of the industry. And it just helps me understand better and helps me understand, you know, owners better, helps me understand, you know, brokers better as well. Because I mean, nobody has it in, you know, easy in this industry at all. No. At the end of the day,
I said, hell no, dude.
No, nobody has the industry. There's definitely that pressure, performance pressure, you know, from for both ends. I feel that more on the broker side. You know what I mean? Well, now we're gonna go with brokers, but it's like I feel that more on the broker side, where you have to perform, you have to, you know, pump out the numbers, you have to make those sometimes uncomfortable calls, you know, to get new customers, you know, or to win a customer back. Yeah, you know,
absolutely,
the hustle comes in so many ways, but definitely, I definitely got a lot of love for the brokers, man, because I understand. I'm not a broker. Right. But I do understand the pressure of putting yourself out there. I understand the pressure of being uncomfortable. I understand the pressure of, you know, making those calls or having to perform at a certain level, you know, in order to put food on the table, you know.
Freight hustlers, Scott, freight hustlers, man, hit them up. I think this is a perfect time to say, man, you were talking about some code. I'm not an apparel guy or anything like that, but he wanted to put something out there for all of the Freight Coach listeners to, you know, and at the end of the day, man, go out and support him. You know, here's the kind of guy Ivan is. Ivan, when I reached out to him about it, he wanted to give me a friends and family thing. And as a small business owner myself, I couldn't accept a discount code because I'm all about supporting small businesses. But you know, he's graciously going to put one out there for you guys. So go to Freight. You say it right here, freighthustlers.com.
Yeah, freighthustlers.com. Check it out. Check out the merch. You know, check it out. We kind of like we're repping it right now, and
keep talking. I'm gonna go pull up my other piece of merch. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
You know, and for all the followers, the discount code is gonna be the Freight Coach. The Freight Coach. Go ahead and put it out there. It pops up. Let's go. I like the hat. Looks good on you.
That's right. Here's another one. He's got trucker hats out there as well.
Yeah.
Do that, man. Like that's what it's all about.
We're going to be putting out more merch, you know, as we're kind of going along. Like I said, we really started pushing this about really 3-4 months ago. So this is relatively new, but, you know, we're believing that this is just going to be a name, a brand that really reminds everybody of, you know, the hustle, the grind, the waking up in the morning, you know what I mean? And, you know, putting food on the table, clothes on, you know, on our backs, and your family, the sacrifices that you had to do to get to where you are, to provide for your family, to keep America moving strong. That's what this is. Freight Hustlers is about, man. It represents the grind. It represents the hustle. It represents the heart of the industry. Relatively, like, we started as truckers, you know what I mean? So we're definitely have that love for truckers, but this whole industry cannot work, without all of us, working together. So I really hope and pray that this name really represents and brings together the industry and, brings pride into the industry, man, because you definitely got to have pride in this industry, man. You do, man. You keep America moving. Come on.
That's exactly it.
Keep this industry moving. When COVID happened, who was there? Who were the first guys to keep things going?
Truck drivers, the hardworking men and women behind the road.
Everybody in the industry, you know what I mean? So, again, the code for the discount code 50% is the Freight Coach. It pops up right before you make the purchase. You select the items that you want, and right before you make the purchase, it's right on top, and it's a little box that says discount code. That's what it says, discount code.
But there's also another portion of this, and this is another, dude. Like, first and foremost, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come out and talk today about this, man. Not only what you got a very special cause behind what else you guys donate a portion of your proceeds to. And, pay attention to this more than not, because there's a lot of drivers that are on the road that they find themselves in some pretty situations. So go ahead and talk about another portion that you guys donate your proceeds to for Freight Hustlers.
So 10% of what we make is we're saving that up right now to, because the story behind that is, or the story behind us and how we got into this industry, like I mentioned before, is, my dad passing away, and really my mom being, not knowing what she's going to do. And I believe that's so hard on so many families that, that their father or husband was a truck driver, and, he passed away, and now they don't know how to make ends meet. It's always tough. And so we want to be there. We want to be a blessing to this industry. One of the things that we want to do is, be a blessing to this industry. And so through this 10% of what we make, we're going to save that up and, donate that to a family member that has been, fellow truck driver that we lost on the road,
What's your goal to hit to get to start sending out a donation?
I think I want to get to at least, we just started 3-4 months ago. So, we're barely, just starting off. So I want to get to at least a couple thousand where you can, something really good that I can say. Cause I remember, like, man, I know I still remember, I know the cost of a funeral, I know what, the cost of, having to pay not knowing how you're going to pay the next 2-3 months of rent down the road.
I'm right there with you. I just did. So I know exactly what you're talking about, man. It's unexpected, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap no matter what you do, whether it's a proper casket burial or a cremation. It's not cheap at all, and especially if you're going through, the final, the paperwork, essentially, because that's what it boils down to, the final paperwork and everything else. There's a lot of stuff that can get kind of tied up in that process. So what's your goal, man? I put it out there. Let's put it out there to the universe, man. What number do we need to hit in sales to hit, what's that number? Is it $2,500?
Oh man. I haven't really thought about that exact number. I just know this, my thought was, like, as soon as we get to at least where we can, out of that 10%, make 2,000, 3,000, that's a decent number. And then kind of grow it as we're building. It's like, if we make, if we have 10%, 10,000 later down the road saved up in 10%, then we can bless 2-3 other families, 4 other families, and that's what I'll continue doing. So
yeah, man, I'll just put this out there. Text me when you hit $500. I will personally send you $500 to this cause. I'm willing to donate that, man. And again, we got to do more together collectively. So, I have a platform, and I want to do better by this. So if there's any listeners out there that, if you can, like, whatever it is, even if you can go out there and just buy a hat, that all contributes to the cause. And again, like, it's expensive. I talk to drivers all the time about a lot of this stuff. So it's like, dude, when you hit $500, let me know. I'll Venmo you 500 at that time. So we can get to 1,000.
Come on,
and then,
let's go.
But dude, that's the thing, man. It's a small business, man. I'm all about helping the little guy. I'm all about helping the American dream, man.
Yes.
Boom. Here we go. We got another person who said they'll send $500. I'll walk what I talk.
You know what, guys? Let's do this. If we can find, we're gonna do this. Let's do this. We'll reach out. We're just gonna put it out there. You know,
look at that. We got another one, man. We just got 1,000, dude. We got $1,500 for you right there.
Let's go. So here's what we're gonna do. You know, is we're just gonna put it out there on Instagram. And Freight Coach, if you can help me out with that, that would be amazing. And what we can do is just put it out there. You know, and we want to know the story of a family that's out there that has lost a fellow trucker, and we want to bless them. You know, we want to be there for them. We want to let them know that we support them, and you know, and let's make it happen.
Dude, absolutely.
Right now. We don't even have the sales for that yet. But if there people are willing to donate right now, let's get that money out there to those families right now.
Let's do that. And then, all right. So I'm sorry, but it says LinkedIn user. It said private message me, and I'll put the $500 in as a start. Whoever that is, please DM me. I don't know. Like, maybe I don't pay enough money to stream. But JT Barnett. All right, JT. Hey, thank you for that. Because again, you guys, I'm in startup world. Like, I don't have fancy technology. I just invested a bunch of stuff to upgrade. This is where I'm at right now. But it's a process. And again, we got to help each other out, especially in this time right here. So JT, I will send you a DM as well, and we'll get linked up. And then Mark and I talk all the time, Mark Groves. But yeah, man, we'll get you that, and we'll get you that first 1,500 to start, so we can bless somebody sooner than later. And we can let them know. We'll let them know that the Freight Coach and Freight Hustlers wants to bless them. So yeah, absolutely. And then I don't know why. Okay, so with the LinkedIn thing, why it says LinkedIn user, I actually learned this the other day. If you have your settings somehow set to private, it doesn't allow it doesn't allow your name to be someone. All right, Dustin Fahey, Scott, thank you for putting that up there. But yeah, man, so we got $1,500 for you, just like that, man.
That's amazing. You guys are You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. We appreciate that, and I know that the families that are going to receive this money, are going to
absolutely, that. Bro.
I can't even think about their faces right now. It's like, so,
fuck yeah, that's what it's all about, man. We're here to help each other. All right, we're better together than we are separate, and that's for fucking every part of this life, man. It's not just trucking. We're better together. We're stronger together than we are. All right, dude. Well, that's it. We kind of went a little bit over, but again, the beauty of having your own shows, do whatever the fuck I want sometimes. I'm here again not every Tuesday. Podcast drops every Tuesday and Friday. Coffee with the Freight Coach. Every new episode. We go live every Thursday at noon Central Time here. We're here to talk about the realities of freight day in and day out. Shout out to my friends over at BitFreighter. They are a massive supporter of the show, just like Emerge. They're massive supporters. Trucker Tools, they're massive supporters. I got a very, very, very big announcement I'm going to be dropping tomorrow. Also, so pay attention. I might be doing, should I do an impromptu live show on Friday to announce this? I kind of feel like I need to, because this is a huge step of what's going to be going on. But anyways, you guys reach out, follow Freight Hustlers on IG. I know a bunch of you guys are out there on Instagram. Hit them up. Let's support the cause. I appreciate you guys all so much. Thank you. And we'll be talking to you soon.